Hello, so I'm gonna wait a little bit until some people join this stream. It's a spontaneous stream. And hello, we've already got my first viewer, Merkel. Is really nice that you're joining. Mike, hi Mike. I'm sure you're happy about the ETH and Cardano gains that we've had, as well as Bitcoin breaking 34,000. Pretty good. Nice to see you also here, Ixius. Yep, today was incredible for ETH. We're going to be looking a little bit at the ETH USD chart, some pretty fun Twitter things that I found, maybe some Reddit posts, and I've also got a few fantastic macroeconomical charts that actually looks at the progression of many metrics like inflation, like a lot of things like since 1971 that haven't been performing as great for retail investors. So growth and productivity, hourly compensation, minimum wage, and things like that. So we're going to be looking at quite a lot of interesting stuff. Yeah, ETH USD, I mean, it's incredible. I didn't expect the price to rise as much as it did. So if you're familiar with the Ichimoku cloud, we're actually above the cloud. So this is great. Above the cloud means bullish trend. We've been in a bullish trend since the 14th of December, officially based on the cloud and the weekly. If we look at the daily, we've been in a bullish trend much longer period of time. So I think when the ETH price passed $200, we actually started going into a bullish trend for ETH on the daily. That was, I believe, sometime back in April of 2020. So yeah, 2020 was a fantastic year for ETH, to say the least. Anyone that bought in 2020 made some fantastic profits. So if you got in March, you're up around, yeah, at least 10x. So if you manage to get some super cheap ETH on the 14th, 15th of March at $19.95 or $100, then you're up 9x, 10x actually from those prices, which is fantastic. I mean, find another asset class that's performing as well as ETH. I mean, of course, Bitcoin is also leading the bull rally, ETH and Bitcoin. But the fantastic thing with ETH is that it's still pretty far away from its all-time high, which is at $1,400. Yeah, it's at $910, which is pretty good. I see the next resistance being at $1,041, which we'll probably see in the next 2 days. Let's see. I mean, to be honest, having a few corrections along the way is perfectly fine. Yeah, that's definitely a good thing, and especially if you look at the ETH BTC ratio, at the moment it's pretty measurable. So I'm hoping that ETH is going to get a much stronger ratio towards BTC in the next few months. On the 8th of February, the CME futures were launched, and that had a massive impact on the price of Bitcoin. I believe it was back in 2017 or 2018, I'm not sure. Yeah, ETH BTC ratio is looking really good. I believe it's got a double bottom bounce. Yeah, really good. Here we've got pretty good bounce, double bottom bounce at 23,000. So here we've got this resistance, so hopefully we break past it. Please let me know if you can see this. And yeah, probably we're gonna break past this resistance. It would be nice to have a candle close above that, unless it's on the daily. The next resistance is going to be 28,000. So I definitely want to see, first of all, break above the red line here, which would be the 28,000 resistance, and then get into the cloud. So as soon as we're in the cloud, this is pretty good. And then I would like to see a break above the cloud to have a ETH BTC ratio bullish trend for ETH. So yeah, scaling out a little bit out of Bitcoin, not too much, but maybe 10-15%. Out of Bitcoin, maybe allocating a certain percentage to ETH, and then a certain percentage to USDC or the USDT to buy the dips. Now that's definitely a pretty good strategy. It's very difficult to time the market, but if you dollar cost average, you look for good low entries, and then you scale out like accordingly after maybe 100%, 200%, 500, 900% gains. And you make sure you've always got a fiat position to buy the dips, then you're going to be set for life at some point. I mean, it's a long game, and yeah, just there are some people that manage to lose money during a bull run, so try not be a part of that small percentage. So Marcus, this is actually completely free. You can sign up for tradingview.com. You can actually set all of the things here that I've got on my chart up for free. I've actually made quite a few videos showing how you can set up the Ichimoku cloud if that's something that interests you. I've also showing a few things like setting up alerts. But with the free version, you're limited to, I believe, 3 alerts. And there are also other things that are limited. So you can also only put 3 indicators on a single chart. But you can actually save different charts and use different indicators on them. So if you go here, I've got a few different charts that I saved, and I've got different indicators on them. But to be honest, I only use a few indicators. I'm not trading daily. It's more for a long-term perspective. So yeah, thanks a lot, Gunther, for that suggestion. Definitely make sure to hit the like button. I'm not seeing enough likes on this video. We definitely want to push the price of ETH a lot higher, and I'm sure by like this video, you're giving people that don't know what ETH is a chance to find the video. So make sure to hit the like button. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure to subscribe. And also I've currently also started a new Twitter account where I'll be posting like new information that I find, some price information, as well as new projects I come across that I think is interesting. So make sure to follow me at your DeFi guide. There should be a link in the description of this video. So I'll probably be posting daily, retweeting stuff that I think is interesting. Especially in the DeFi space. I've got a few nuggets that I shared. So if you missed the Uniswap and 1inch exchange airdrop, I actually posted some other exchanges that might also do such an airdrop in the future, but only if you use this exchange. I believe Zapper is one of those, Zerion, MetaMask, and a few other ones. Thanks for that. I'll actually post it here in the chat. Yeah, I changed it. The Crypto Boost was from my old website, and now I've did a rebranding like many cryptocurrency projects tend to do. So now I'm your DeFi guide, helping you in the space, making sure you avoid scams and making the best decisions for your investments so that you thrive and become independent, because I just want the best for you guys on your adventure, making sure that you can make the most of it. So yeah, that's the idea behind your DeFi guide. One thing I think is really terrible at the moment is the ETH fees. They're definitely killing us. DeFi traders, because at the moment using any smart contracts on Ethereum is just like incredibly expensive. 407 Gwei for a super fast transaction, 386 Gwei for fast, and 317 for standard. So this is just, this does not push adoption as much as I'd like it. So the problem with these high fees is that only people with larger amounts of cash can actually participate in different lucrative yield farming investments, because otherwise with less than maybe 5,000 or 10,000 US dollars, everything else gets eaten up by the fees. Yeah, Kierin for DeFi president. It's I would say it's a democracy, so probably no presidents, but yeah, I'll be one of the board members in this decentralized autonomous organization. What else like to talk about? Let's maybe look at some news. If you've got any questions, just feel free to ask those in the chat. Wish you all of you guys a happy new year. Hope you had a great start. And yeah, if you've got any questions concerning ETH, concerning YouTube, concerning my channel, anything in particular, if you've got DeFi apps you'd like me to review or look at, some small cap gems, just feel free to drop those in the chat and I'll probably look at it. If there's no questions, I'll probably just ramble along and find some interesting stuff to talk about. Yeah, synthetics layer 2. I actually am a big fan of synthetics, and what I think is really impressive is that they've got 150 million US dollar treasury. So that's incredibly impressive. So if you're not already familiar with synthetics, it's actually a derivatives exchange that allows people to trade different cryptocurrencies as well as commodities, and hopefully soon it will allow people to trade stocks. The only thing that I'm and not only me but many people in the space are not too happy about, and that's not just related to synthetics, and that's just it's basically the fees. So that's why layer 2 hopefully can alleviate these painful fees and actually make trading on synthetics as well as other dApps a lot more profitable, especially for smaller traders with only maybe a few $100s to the name. Because I think that's the big proponent for the DeFi space. It should allow everyone anywhere in the world to actually access financial instruments and do a lot more with their investments. But that's only possible if you're paying like a few cents for smart contract transactions, as well as transactions. Like paying $80 for a smart contract transaction is actually making DeFi a rich man's game. So I've got a pretty good question from Etang888. Should I ever sell the HODL portfolio during the bull run and hope for big drops to buy back? What's everyone's exit strategy? So actually I did make a video about exit strategies, and I've got my strategy is basically, I put it like this: when I buy a certain coin, I actually think about at which price points I'd like to sell, and I try and time these sales. So for example, if I've got Ethereum, I bought it at $100 US, and I decide I want to use a more risky strategy, and I'll start selling at maybe the previous all-time high, so that would be $1,400. So then I probably sell 10% of my ETH portfolio at $1,400 US, and then what I can do is maybe for every I don't know, $600 or $1,000, I sell another 10% of my portfolio, and you can do that all the way up to $10,000. I believe the next top is $10,000, but by doing it like this, you actually have the cash at some point to buy some pullbacks, and you're also not scared because you sold too much during a dump, because by planning your sales, you actually not trying to time the market, because what many people do wrong is that they actually they sell when the market dumps 20%, and that's a pretty bad strategy. So it's better you think about what some realistic targets are. You decide some arbitrary price points. So for example, you sell 10% $1,400, 10% at the double of that, 2,800, 10% at 4,000, 10% at 6,000, something like that. And then you can put an alert on either Coinbase or Bitpanda or another place. As soon as the price reaches that, you just sell. Doesn't really matter what if it looks like it's going higher, you just sell it at that price point. And like that, you remove the emotional aspect of investing. But yeah, I would maybe only sell 50%, and the rest is 50% is for long-term holding. So yeah, ETH price. Well, ETH price is always something that I love looking at. Let's go back to the ETH USD. $938, fantastic. Visio is holding till ETH 100k. So you actually want to buy an island, a yacht's not enough. Well, at 100k, you're definitely not living on the bridge. You're probably going to be able to buy the bridge as well as the city and the island. Yeah. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. I wouldn't be surprised if we hit 1k by today. So this is looking extremely good in my eyes, and I think it's pretty interesting that very often ETH is lagging a bit behind Bitcoin. So Bitcoin has had its moment to shine, and now ETH is actually showing that it's also got some fuel in a tank. You're hoping to sell when you don't ever have to work again. Well, I mean, it's a pretty good strategy on one hand. The only danger with that is that you actually hold past the whole bull run without actually taking any profits. So I mean, if you're only missing like 5x from here to never work again, probably you could just hold. But maybe if you're waiting for 10x or 20x or 50x, it does make more sense to remove some money or some ETH as long as you still got a good hodl portfolio, but then it won't be as painful to witness the drops because you have some cash to buy back. So it really depends on how much you own, how much you're expecting to gain during this bull run. Yeah, I think for everyone it's going to be completely different. Everyone has a different financial situation. It's very difficult to give a generalized strategy, but like Merkel says, dollar cost average in, dollar cost average out is probably the best way to do it. You can use logarithmic bands. You can use different strategies. They're pretty much. I do recommend watching how to take profits video that I posted. Nimic, I'm not following too many altcoins at the moment. In my opinion, as long as ETH and BTC continue to rally, most altcoins are going to be bleeding pretty much. So at the moment, the only altcoins I've got at the moment is Cardano and ETH. If you can even sorry, I lost my Yeah, so the altcoins are probably going to lose value. At the moment, I've got Cardano, ETH, and Bitcoin in my portfolio, and yeah, I'm looking at maybe adding a few small cap gems during the altcoin season, but I prefer to stay on the safe side. I don't want any super risky bets. To be honest, the gains that I'm getting through ETH and BTC and Cardano make up for any 100x gains I will be getting from some small cap gem. And these gains are probably also a lot more sustainable. With the small cap gems, it's more likely that you get rugged, and the likelihood that they actually really pump 10x, 20x, 50x, it's 1 out of 10 that actually makes a lot of money. And you shouldn't compare in USD valuation, but in ETH BTC valuation, and at the moment everything is just bleeding. Like altcoins, I've got a few friends that are all in altcoins, and they're just like, the portfolios are bleeding in sats and gray. Oh, let's see. I'm sure there's one actually super secret strategy to make sure that ETH reaches 1K, and that's by smashing a like button. Make sure you turn it blue, and that would definitely help ETH reach 1K a lot faster. And yeah, I'm really pumped about that. I'll probably look at a few other things right now, but do make me aware of it as soon as ETH pumps a lot more, so that we don't miss it. Well, I mean, hindsight is always something that everyone wished they had. Fixius, I mean, I've also done a lot of bad trades during DeFi summer, going into some altcoins or selling too soon and so on. So I guess you have to learn from it, and I believe the easiest way to make the best possible profits is by having a massive allocation to ETH, BTC, as well as maybe 1 or 2 other larger projects. I'm pretty bullish on Cardano because they've had a lot of good development, but of course they don't have any dApps and so on. So it's definitely a much riskier project, but they've got good ground, and they brought out some new modules to allow ERC20 tokens as well as Ethereum smart contracts to be ported onto the Cardano blockchain. So that looks pretty promising. But yeah, it's definitely a much riskier bet than Ethereum. At the moment, Ethereum is pretty good. Only thing that I'm worried about is how far away Ethereum 2.0 is. I mean, phase 2 should be around 2022. So until then, we're going to probably have to suffer pretty high fees unless EIP 1559 gets implemented. So EIP 1559 is definitely something that can bring a lot of relief to the space, but I mean, this is something I've been talking about already since the beginning of the year, and it doesn't seem like it's going to be implemented like in the next few months. I don't know, I'd be surprised. So we've got $40 to go onto $1,000 US. Let's move this so that we have actually got a $1,000 US line. Yeah, that looks pretty good. The one I wanted to share with you, I think this is pretty interesting, is a website I came across a few days ago. It's called Defy Database. This is not only for Ethereum. This actually tracks many different decentralized finance applications on numerous chains. So you've got the ETH ecosystem, you've also got DOT, BTC, and quite a lot of Polkadot, EOS, probably also Tron. Not that I know that anyone actually uses Tron, but I think this is pretty good reference if you want to find some new hot dApps to use. So I definitely recommend looking at this. So this parabolic move, I believe, should actually, yeah, at the moment, the next resistance is probably around $1,040. but to be honest, I definitely see it reaching the next all-time high in the next few days, if not next few weeks. The thing is with Ethereum, Austin, is that a lot of people know Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is basically a store of value. And don't get me wrong, Bitcoin is fantastic. It's one of the best store of values that came about in the last decade. I mean, if you look at gold, Bitcoin has numerous properties that is way better than gold. I mean, apart from the limited amount of coins, as well as you can actually transport it anywhere you want. You can send $1 billion of Bitcoin with just a few cents. So Bitcoin definitely has a lot of fantastic properties. Now, Ethereum is actually a lot more interesting because you can actually compare Bitcoin to being the gold that is in the banks, and Ethereum is the banks. Ethereum has not only the banks, but it's basically a marketplace for everything. So everything is probably going to be running on Ethereum. So you've got derivatives market, which is worth 544 trillion US dollars. I mean, if only a percentage of that is running on Ethereum, I mean, there you've got probably an ETH price of 30,000 US dollars. And I mean, it's probably not going to be happening during this bull run, but I'm looking at the macroeconomical aspect of this, and maybe in the next 5 to 10 years. So not only that, you got the tokenized aspect of Ethereum, so you can actually tokenize maybe real estate or products. You've got the NFT space. I'm not such a big fan of the NFT space, but you've got tokenized things such as domain names, in-game items, because like a lot of online games have massive marketplaces. As you can see, Ethereum actually does a lot of what the traditional financial space does, thanks to the decentralized finance part of the Ethereum blockchain. And Bitcoin is actually just a small part of this. So Bitcoin is actually fantastic in the DeFi space because the DeFi space is taking massive amounts of Bitcoin to empower DeFi apps. Bitcoin's store of value can be used in MakerDAO. It can be used in different decentralized finance apps. It's not the actual Bitcoin that's on the Bitcoin blockchain, but it's Bitcoin that is turned into ERC20 token. So it's basically an ERC20 token backed one by Bitcoin. But with the ERC20 characteristics, it can be used in DeFi applications. Well, yeah, I mean, Bitcoin and ETH were definitely the best performers in 2020. But yeah, hindsight is the hardest thing. You always think about what you should have done. I think a diversified portfolio among the top 5 is definitely a good thing. What do you think about the set tokens these days? I guess you're talking about token sets. I think token sets is pretty good. I'm not, how do you say, I'm not such a fan about the robo sets, like the automated trading part of the token sets. I mean, it's fantastic that they allow you to do that, but it's not the most profitable way. Hodling has been a lot more profitable than buying robo sets on set protocol. But there's definitely the DeFi basket, which looks pretty good. So DeFi Pulse Index, that's the one that it's called. So when you buy that, you actually get 10 or 15 different decentralized finance tokens in a single basket, and then you can like buy one token on token sets, and that gives you like exposure to the decentralized finance space. It's pretty good, but during the BTC and ETH run, it's probably still going to lose value. The social sets, Yeah, to be honest, I've looked at quite a few of them, and most of them they perform worse than hodling. I mean, there are some pretty good traders, but in my opinion, it's much easier to just buy and hold and get a exit, develop a exit strategy where you want to sell at a different price points. It's much more profitable than the social sets. I think everything that actually tries to increase your gains by a lot is a lot more risky. Yeah, that's my point of view. We're back at $953. I wonder if we're gonna reach. I'm pretty sure we're gonna reach $1,000 before the end of this stream. All-time high was $1,400. So maybe let's look at the weekly again. I'm pretty happy about one of my calls I did in August. I think it's in my ETH 2.0 price prediction video that I made. I believe it was August or July. I'm not sure anymore, but yeah, it was probably June. Yeah, when ETH actually entered into this cloud, and when it does an edge to edge, very often when the price enters a cloud, it does an edge to edge trade. And I actually predicted that ETH would reach $740 by the end of 2020, and I was super happy that it did. So I'm really happy with this. So the cloud actually shows the future trend and the past trend in one go. So that's the beauty of the cloud. And this twist here is actually indicating that the future trend is bullish. So this is pretty good. The current support at the moment is $632. So it's possible that after we pull up either to the next resistance, which is at $1,038, it's possible that we have a very short-lived correction to $632, and it's possible then we push past that resistance, get to the next all-time high of $1,400. But what is incredible is that the last time we were now at this price point of $952 was actually in February of 2018. So I'm not sure who's actually been in the crypto space since the 2017 bull rally. Make sure to let me know in the comments if you experienced the 2017 bull rally. So yeah, let me know if you actually if you experienced this massive bull run in 2017 and the ETH top in at the beginning of 2018. So anyone that actually bought after the 19th of February 2018 is now in profit. But if you actually bought at $940, you had to wait 3 painful years before you actually saw any gains or actually broke even. Jared, you made it through the crypto window. Now you must have massive biceps. After that, it must have been some painful months. Well, I mean, I also went through that, so I know how it felt with the price going sideways for ages and nothing really happened. I think everyone learned from the 2017 bull run. It was an incredible experience, and at the time, me and friends, we thought it would never stop. Like, we believed actually the bull run would continue, and that was at the peak at 20,000 on the 17th of December 2017. With the altcoins, like just crazy. You could actually pick any kind of altcoin and you made like 10x gains. I mean, my girlfriend bought Cardano at 2 cents, and that was like incredible rally up to $1.28. So yeah, so it's fantastic that we've actually managed to pull through this crypto winter, a very long crypto winter, more than 973 days of bleeding portfolios, of maybe stressful nights depending on how much you put into crypto. Yeah, but it's definitely painful if you manage to get a massive crypto portfolio after the 2017 bull run and then see it dwindle all the way during the bear. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I know a few people that did the same thing, getting loans for crypto. But yeah, that's the worst thing to do. I mean, the thing is with these loans, you have to pay them back, and very often these people, they don't actually start buying crypto when it's in its lows, when during such a bear market. They actually start buying when everyone else starts FOMOing in, and that's probably the worst time to buy. So dollar cost averaging, if you're only starting with $10 a month, that's probably enough. It's better spent than on a $6 or $7 latte. Yeah. Actually, on Reddit, I think it was a few months ago, I saw a post. If I'm not mistaken, it's probably sometime in March or April. There was a guy from Dubai. He had, I think, a 350,000 US dollar loan. He put everything into crypto and it like collapsed, and then he sold, I believe, in March to 2020. And yeah, then he was scared because in Dubai, apparently, if you've got some open loans and you can't pay it back, then there's a high probability that you can go to prison for that. So if there's a lesson to be learned from that, then definitely do not get any loans to buy cryptocurrency. Preferably, the tip number one is try and earn some more money. Second tip is spend less, track your spending. I mean, I try and keep my consumerism to low levels, and yeah, I think about how much ETH or BTC I could buy before I buy the newest gadget. So maybe if you keep these things, and also think about how you can actually earn some more money. There are some pretty interesting ways to earn money online at the moment. So especially in the cryptocurrency space, I mean, you can either start learning how to develop websites, accept crypto for it. You can start writing for cryptocurrency blogs. You can do video editing for YouTubers. There are so many, or whatever you can think of. So I think as if you try and develop your skills and you find some clients on the internet, then you will be spared by black swan events such as the pandemic. So yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure with the, thanks a lot for the question, Seth. I bought in when Ethereum was $869. I'm up $96 return at the moment. Do you think this will last about a week with the surge of the stimulus in the US? Well, you have to look at it like this. So I'm not sure if you're completely new to the cryptocurrency space, but the cryptocurrency space is extremely volatile. So it's possible that on 1 week you have like 2 or 3 or 400% gains, and then the next week you're gonna have a 80 or 90% dump. I mean, anything can happen. So if I were you, put that ETH somewhere. Don't really look at it too much, but you can expect maybe a 20% drop sometime. It can go up higher, and then dollar cost average from now on. So I do expect definitely a lot more money coming in, not only from institutional investors piling into Ethereum, but also retail investors with the stimulus check. So I believe the $2,000 stimulus check has been accepted in the US. I'm not from the US, so I won't be getting that, but we've got some other viable options in case we lose our jobs, so we're not reliant on such stimulus checks. So yeah, so if I were you, don't worry too much about the price, ride the wave, but yeah, it's possible there's a pullback. And if there's a pullback, what I recommend doing is just dollar cost averaging. with this 20% pullback, then you put maybe a little bit inside, and then you can actually get your average buying price down a lot lower. So Ali Zaidi, I bought at 400 and sold at 600. Thought it would go to 550. I hope you didn't sell your whole portfolio. Timing the market is super difficult in the cryptocurrency space. I've done that mistake time and time again. I looked at the charts were telling me something, and the cryptocurrency market did something completely different. So yeah, I'm really sorry for your loss. Maybe wait and see how it performs. It's possible that we get a pullback at some point to $645. Maybe if you've got an exchange where you can set limit buy orders, with a limit buy order at $645, but there's always a chance that you never get back in. But if you sold at $600 and you buy back now, it would be a bit of a loss that you would get. Let's say if you sold at $600, yeah, you would have a 60% loss. So maybe wait for a pullback. If you actually wait for a pullback at $700, you only have a 12% loss. So maybe you can already start putting some buy orders at $700. Possible that we see a pullback there. Hi, so that's great at 17 that you're learning about markets. I think that the biggest advice I can give you is try and think long term, and also develop your skills. Learn as much as you can about the Ethereum blockchain, learn as much as you can about the decentralized finance space. And don't focus too much on trading. Just try and put some money into ETH and BTC if you can save it, and just leave it there. Don't try and time the market, because what you do is you think that you can sell high, buy low, but in the end, what happens is people they buy high and then they sell low. So timing the market is incredibly difficult, because people are led by their emotions, the fear of missing out on incredible gains, the fear of losing the funds that you have. It actually tears you apart, especially if you've got a lot of funds invested in the cryptocurrency space. I'm not sure, Ryan Fun, I'm not sure if I should sell right now. Yeah, I've already talked about this. I mean, it's very difficult to tell you when to sell, when not to sell, and so on. I'm in it for the long term. I've got, me personally, I believe at some point it will reach 10,000 US dollars per ETH. But it's possible that you will see some retracements along the way. So my advice for selling is, let's say, I'll give an example. So let's say we'll take an arbitrary number, and for example, let's say you bought at $440. Now, I mean, it really depends on your financial situation. How much money do you have? Do you need this money to pay some bills? Does it matter if you don't have, or does it matter if you can't sell for the next 5 months? I think all of these aspects are incredibly important. But what I would do is, like, if you bought at $450, you can actually make a TradingView account, tradingview.com, which is completely free. They've got a pro version, but you can use the free version. I'm using the free version. And then you can actually look at the chart. And me personally, it doesn't really matter what kind of numbers you select. But let's say you put at $400, you bought at $800, you would have doubled your money. But let's say you're super bullish and you say, all right, I'm going to put my first sell order at a little bit under the next all-time high. And then maybe you decide, all right, from my complete cryptocurrency ETH stack, I'm only going to sell 50%, and the other 50% is for long-term hodling. But here you're not going to sell all of these 50%, these remaining 50%. So of the allocated amount that you're going to sell, you probably only sell here 10% of the amount that you allocated for selling. Then maybe you set another price target, for example, at 2,400, another price target at 4,000. I'm just giving some examples, and I don't know when we're gonna reach these, but if you actually plan your exit before you actually start investing, or even now, then you're probably never going to sell. And never selling means that you will actually ride all the way up to the bull, like the bull run, all the way up, and then you go all the way down again. And if you haven't experienced the 2017 bull run, I mean, there's so many people afterwards who wish, well, why did I not take any profits? Why did I not take any profits? And the reason is because people only start taking profits when it actually starts dumping. And when it dumps 10%, 20%, 30, 40, 50. And yeah. So me personally, this is how I do it. So maybe sell 10% here, 10% there, 10% at 5,000. And that just gives me some opportunity to buying the dip. So let's say the price reaches 2,400 and then it drops back down to the 950 range. And then I can actually buy double amount of coins back. So that's basically my strategy. I have planned where I want to actually exit. And these are spaced out pretty well, because if you don't do this, you'll ride the whole bull run up without taking any profits. And how do you actually know when the end of the bull run is going to be? I mean, is it going to be at $4,000, $7,000? I have no clue. I mean, no one can predict dips, no one can predict pumps. That's why actually, yeah, planning your exit is the best part for a long-term investment of that allocated amount that you're actually willing to sell. Of the other part, you keep it as a long-term hodling position, but with this 50% that you're allocating to exiting, you will actually manage to remove your initial investment as well as get some profit to buy back the dips, because when they happen, they're very brutal, and by buying the dip, it will actually help you feel better about yourself. Never selling is definitely don't ever sell. An advice from Carlos Franco is probably not the best advice, because then you ride the whole bull run up and all the way down, and very often the price might even go down below your actual buying price, and that's super painful. What's my bull run price prediction? Well, it's very difficult. I actually made a price prediction of, I think, 4,000 US dollars at the end of 2021. So yeah, that's I posted it on Twitter. So please make sure that you actually follow me on Twitter, as I'll be posting some stuff that I'm doing at your DeFi guide. You'll find me there. Stake is definitely a pretty good way to get some additional ETH. It's not an easy thing to do if you're running your own validator. So kudos to those that are actually running their own validators. It's quite a bit of work to troubleshoot if something goes wrong, but the return on investment is pretty good. I believe at the moment it's at around 12%. Vixius, I guess you add some hopium pills. I mean, 10K would be fantastic, and I'd be super surprised if that happens at the end of 2021. But I'm pretty sure it's not beyond reach in the next 5 years. Etang, yep, that's what I want to do, ride it up and down. I mean, roller coasters are definitely a lot of fun, especially on the way up, not so much on the way down. Long term, do you think ETH is a better coin than Bitcoin with Ethereum 2 and all that? Well, I did mention this at the beginning of the video. I'm just gonna reiterate super fast. Bitcoin and Ethereum serve completely different purposes. Bitcoin is a store of value. Ethereum is a marketplace for everything. Ethereum actually will bring the entire traditional financial system onto the internet. So you can compare the Ethereum blockchain to an operating system, and on this operating system you've got many different apps. So you've got like your banking app, you've got your trading app, you've got all of these apps that can work together. And Bitcoin is basically just a store of value, and that's it. It does what it does pretty good, but that's it. So in my opinion, next 5 years, Ethereum will surpass the Bitcoin market cap because it can actually do a lot more in terms of functionality. It's a good basis for an entire financial system. So yeah, in my opinion, I'm super bullish on Ethereum. Ethereum 2.0 is going to bring the fees down, the scalability, as well as a lot of additional features. So that's pretty good. It's just, unfortunate thing is it's a bit farther away. See you, Mike. Thanks for listening. Talk to you soon. How much you think Ether is at the end? I already said that $4,000 is my price prediction, but yeah, let's see how that pans out. ETH USD is still at $960. Let's maybe look at the 5 minutes or 15 minutes interval. We've got a bit of a resistance here. I'm not sure if we're going to manage to break $1,000 on stream. It's going to be interesting. So I want to quickly go over this last website that I actually said I was going to talk about, and it's called what the WTF happened in 1971.com. I'll actually post it in the chat if you actually want to open it up and look at it for yourself. And I think this is a fantastic website that actually shows how bad the global economy has become and how terrible actually the situation has become for us retail investors on numerous levels. So especially everything actually started getting worse after 1971, and you see why. So for example, here this is an interesting graph. So 1948, you see the productivity and compensation is more or less in line. And then after 1971, there's a huge divergence. So compensation, that means how much you're actually earning, didn't actually increase that much. But people have become a lot more productive. As you can see, you can probably think about the irony. What this means in simple terms is you're not actually getting paid enough for the work that you're doing. Now you might be thinking why actually I'm showing you these charts, and the reason for this is cryptocurrency, especially Ethereum, is not just a nice investment. It's actually a financial revolution that is happening, and it will hopefully distribute the wealth among the whole global world population in a much fairer way than the traditional financial system is doing. It will give everyone equal opportunities to participate in a global financial movement that is not governed by a single country. It's not governed by massive institutions, and I think this is pretty good. And that's one reason why I'm so bullish on DeFi, and not only DeFi on the Ethereum blockchain, but probably also DeFi in the next few years that will be running on other blockchains, because it will allow anyone with a smartphone to tap into a massive amount of financial services that you couldn't otherwise do in the traditional financial system. I mean, in many parts of the world, if you don't have a bank account, you cannot start trading, you cannot buy any commodities, or you're actually locked out of a lot of investment opportunities because you're not an accredited investor. So yeah, Ethereum is going to help a lot of people actually gain back their independence from the traditional financial system and make a lot more and better investments thanks to their knowledge, thanks to the fact that it's completely independent. Whereas Switzerland set tokens might help with selling on the top. I mean, like I said before, with the set tokens, the only danger with that is that you're if you don't select the correct set, robo set or whatever, then it's going to be trading back and forth, and you might be losing value instead of just hodling. So Carlos Franco, it's a good point, and about the selling, it's true for US citizens. It's probably a lot better to wait before selling, to wait a long time before selling. But since I'm not living in Switzerland, we've got a lot of different taxes, a much more friendly taxation. So the funny thing is we don't have anything like short-term tax, or what I'm not sure how it's called in the US, short-term gains tax. So basically, if I sell ETH in the same year, I'm not really taxed any differently. In Switzerland, it works like this. ETH is actually considered as part of my wealth, and everything below 70,000 US dollars in wealth is not taxed. So it's tax free, basically. Everything below 70,000 US dollars in wealth. And then afterwards, everything above 70,000 US dollars worth is pretty low. I think it's something like 0.14%. So in Switzerland, we're incredibly lucky concerning the taxes. But yeah, if you've got, if you're living in the US, you probably have to think about capital gains tax, and especially depending on which state you're living in. So if you're living in the US, probably don't sell and wait many years before selling, or your children could sell. So maybe let's look a few other things. So I linked this in the chat. You can look at this. I won't go through all of this because it actually gets really complicated, but it's very interesting to see how everything has progressed. The consumer price index in the United States. This means actually how much the cost of goods has gotten, and as you can see, everything has gone incredibly high, especially after the year 2000. So yeah, that explains why people are not buying as many houses as they used to do in 1970. Yeah, all right, let's get back to the ETH USD. So let's see, in the UK, oddball, in the UK they tax every move in crypto. Yeah, that sucks a bit. Sorry to hear that. So where do you see the ETH in 2 years? Well, hopefully in 2 years ETH will have the Ethereum 2.0 phase 2 implemented finally. So I'd like to see phase 1 implemented at the end of this year. I definitely do not want to see any postponements and delays for Ethereum 2.0, because that would not do any favors to the price. So Ethereum 2.0, 2 years. I give it 2 years. Yeah. Now, in terms of price, well, I think it's all dependent on how Ethereum 2.0 is actually performing, the growth of the DeFi space. I mean, DeFi space had a growth of around 10x last year, and I also see another growth of 10x. So during the altcoin season, buying some DeFi altcoins is probably a pretty good strategy. December 2021, ETH over 10,000 US dollar for sure. That's a wild estimation. I think it's unlikely, but you never know. Anything can happen in the cryptocurrency space. ETON, so anything in the UK here is taxed after 12k. Would the max tax be 20%? Okay, that's really high. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, I realize we're in a pretty cushy, comfortable situation here in Switzerland. What do you think about CME gaps and filling those? I'm not following the CME gaps that much, to be honest with you. Like I mentioned, I'm not a day trader, to be honest. I mean, I do follow the price quite a bit, but I'm much more in it for the long term. But yeah, I guess I'll be closing up. If you've got any last questions, definitely write them here. I'll post a link to my Twitter account. You can still ask me those questions on Twitter. Make sure to follow. I'll probably be doing a giveaway at some point in January. So make sure to follow that you don't miss out on that. Carlos, Kierin, do you plan on selling? I recommend that you watch my how to profit video on YouTube. They actually go over all the details on where I'm going to sell, what kind of strategy I'm going to use when selling. Janet is asking me what DeFi dApps are you looking for airdrops in the future? I made a post on Twitter and also on my community tab. There's also a post there. I think I've added a few DeFi apps, and on the top of my head, I believe it would be Zapper, MetaMask, Zerion, DYDX. Yeah, Open as well. So those on the top of my head, but you probably find them if you scroll through my Twitter feed. So this is the video I was talking about, how to take profits on crypto. I go over different strategies, a less risky strategy and a higher risk strategy, and it's using TradingView. So if you search either Kierin or what I can do is I'll just copy the link address and I'll paste it here in the chat so you can look at it and actually develop your own strategy based on my strategy. And it's basically dollar cost averaging out of your position, but keep in mind taxes depending on where you're living. So yeah, I'll be closing the stream now. Thanks a lot for listening, and yeah, I'll probably do a stream like this sometime in the future, hopefully sooner than later, because it's quite a lot of fun. So yeah, thanks a lot for listening and for chatting with me, and I'll catch you in the next video. Have a good one. Bye bye.